agents will have the ability to speed read, scrape the web efficiently. And this really unlocks a huge opportunity. AI can now gather, process, and act on web-based information in real time and at scale and a much lower cost.
Hey there, welcome to the AI Sidekick, the show designed to help you banish your AI anxiety. I'm your host, Ryan Heath, from Robin AI. Today, I'm joined by Shifra Ansonoff, a true powerhouse at the intersection of data, investment intelligence, and customer strategy. Known as the Obi-Wan of data, she's passionate about demystifying complex systems and helping businesses turn information into real advantage. Her career spans more than 2 decades advising financial institutions on data management, risk, investment processes. She's now managing director at BlackRock, where she's head of global research and customer experience at Preqin. Shifra, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Now, let's just get straight into it. From your point of view, what are the key data opportunities facing private markets today, and how do you help clients overcome those obstacles?
Absolutely. Every day we encounter millions of data sources and countless data points. It's a wealth of information that underscores the richness of available insights. However, the abundance is counterbalanced by a significant lack of standardization within the industry. Even filings and earnings statements can vary widely in format and approach, and it's even more compounded on the private markets level. What Preqin has done in 2003, Preqin revolutionized private market transparency, pioneering the use of the Freedom of Information Act to access fund level data, initially from public pension funds. And what we have emerged is a trusted partner, and we transform fragmented data into a unified platform for our customers.
And can you sort of share a little bit about where you see AI now starting to transform that data analysis across different alternative asset classes?
There are a few components where we actually see AI in action in alternative assets firms. So the first layer that I want to touch on is predictive analytics. Firms are using AI to identify actionable signals for deal sourcing and lead generation. In fact, Preqin Pro has the ability, and we actually have a likelihood indicator for portfolio companies, indicating if a company is likely to exit. So this really helps with the top of the funnel market mapping and identifying opportunities. The second layer of where we see AI in the works is data visualization. So tools such as Microsoft Copilot really enable firms to create dynamic visualizations, very quickly identifying portfolio exposures and integrating insights into workflows. And then the third layer is, of course, AI tools like Robin AI, which really simplify the review of legal documents, summarizing, defining clauses, expediting LPA creation. Major banks also leverage similar AI tools to efficiently extract critical legal insights, really saving significant time and resources.
Great to hear that that is really happening at a significant scale at the moment. How does Preqin leverage AI or inject AI into its own data services and market intelligence? You know, you sort of touched on that there, but sort of how is that changing now?
So one aspect is with data gathering and organization. So there are multiple ways that we see in private markets, customer segments are leveraging AI. And as we know, machine learning is a segment of AI. So we use machine learning in our process of data gathering to take in large data sets daily, including news articles, firm mentions, and alternatives. And we actually created an algorithm, a relevancy scoring technique that filters and classifies the data to focus on private market insights. Of course, there's a human element of going through what the models are finding and really confirming, is this something that we care about? But the immense operation and the millions of data points that we need to gather is really facilitated through this process. We also do leverage natural language processing and computer vision for tasks like monitoring of sites and screenshot comparisons, things like that. But again, hand in hand with the human, very robust controls and really being able to understand the information that we're gathering.
Yeah, that's really interesting because like there are so many components that you really do need the humans somewhere in the process to help stitch it all together. Now, sort of thinking across everything that you've just mentioned, or beyond even, what are the most exciting AI applications that you've seen? And the reason I ask that is not just in general, but to kind of like get a sense of what might surprise some industry veterans, the people who do have those masses of human skills to bring to the table, but, where you're still saying, hey, AI's got something else to add here to that human judgment.
So, in my opinion, one of the most exciting and surprisingly impactful AI applications that I've seen lately is from a startup company, Browser Use. They actually closed a $17 million funding round, and you actually will find their information on Preqin Pro. And what they're doing is essentially turning websites into clean, readable HTML text so that AI agents can see and navigate the internet the way we humans do, but at lightning speed. So effectively, agents will have the ability to speed read, scrape the web efficiently. And this really unlocks a huge opportunity. AI can now gather, process, and act on web-based information in real time and at scale and a much lower cost.
Wow. And is that like a back end to the websites? Like, for example, when I'm making a title for a web page, I'll have like the one you see as the reader, and then maybe an SEO version that's a little bit different. Is it like that or something else?
Yes. Yes, it would be like that.
Okay, excellent. Now, thinking a bit more about strategies around AI adoption, what strategies have you seen working best for encouraging that adoption amongst, either people or teams where they're a bit more tech averse or traditionally risk averse?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And honestly, it's a challenge that every tech provider faces, especially with something as transformative as AI. So it's like the expression from Jean-Georges, the chef, you're only as good as the last meal that you served. So at the end of the day, introducing AI to a risk-averse or tech skeptical team is a bit like rolling out a new SaaS feature. You don't get a free pass because it's innovative. You have to re-earn their trust every time. And what's worked well for us with all of our rollouts, whether we roll out a machine learning algorithm or other functionality, we take a very grounded approach, meaning proving effectiveness and accuracy, not just in theory, but through actual use cases. And we do a lot of A/B testing. Clients are very smart. They're asking the right questions, and rightly so. There's certainly concern about an over-reliance on any tool that doesn't prove its worth. So our job is to keep showing up with the data, the validation, and transparency. So it's an iterative process where we're constantly checking what the models are telling us and comparing it to real world outcomes and making adjustments. Now, the other point is with AI, it doesn't have to be a quantum leap, as you often are integrating AI into an existing app or device.
Now, I've asked you a lot about sort of how AI might apply to different deals and so on, but how do you see AI impacting fundraising strategies when it comes to alternative asset managers and fund formation?
The power in AI that I see in this regard lies in pattern recognition. So, with the right information, AI helps spot signals that can refine everything from asset allocation to client targeting and making strategies for more personalized and efficient workflows. So, we're seeing firms use AI to analyze investor behavior, their risk appetite, their preferences, basically creating a smarter roadmap for outreach. So, for instance, looking at what did investors allocate to in the past? And for the funds that they're invested in, you can see in our platform, are there realizations? Is there money coming back that they can then reallocate into your fund? So you can use all of that information. You can check the DPIs of the funds that they're invested with. And we have deep structured fund data that managers can tap into to really tailor their pitches and match the right investments to the appropriate set of clients. Another piece is a lot of firms have actually adopted a data warehouse model, bringing in data from multiple sources and using AI to cut through the noise and make real-time decisions.
That's super interesting. Is that extending into private wealth management, or are there other specific impacts when it comes to the private
Oh,
wealth side of
for
things?
sure. Private wealth, any type of investor community. We have private wealth investors on our platform, but any type of cohort where you're going to look for some type of signal in the data, as much information as you can gather.
Yep. I love that phrase. I've got friends who run a company called Signal, and that signal in the noise, I just hear it again and again. So very wise words there. Now, maybe if we sort of look ahead now, sort of medium term, 2030 sort of range here, what are some of the major AI-driven changes that you predict will reshape sort of alternative assets as an industry?
Absolutely. So the recent advancements in reasoning models marks a significant achievement. So unlike earlier models that rely more on pattern recognition and a lot of what I was talking about, the O1 employs reinforcement learning to tackle complex multi-step problems. So this approach enables the model to break down a problem into intricate tasks and manageable steps. So mimicking human-like reasoning, and we do see huge application to mathematics, to coding, and certainly this shift to more sophisticated problem solving and a leap forward from, human oversight remains crucial to validating and refining AI generated outputs. And we still need the human aspect to validate the model, ensure accuracy and reliability, but really going through those steps at a much more complex level.
If you, Shifra, got to wave a wand and pick some kind of AI tool or feature, whatever you want to call it, and it could just solve any problem in your work life right now, sort of what would you wish AI could solve for you?
I think for me, really, time management is probably one of the hardest things that many of us face. We have a lot of responsibilities at work and at home, and really the ability to optimize, because I know for myself and for many of my friends, my peers, that we could probably do things much smarter. So if, taking this multi-step ability, analyzing, being able to get an analysis of what I do day to day and seeing how to shave off time. I have ideas, but I think having that from an agent perspective would be really, really helpful.
I would love a little report at the end of the day saying, you know what, you were doing great until 2 o'clock and then you got sidetracked. So don't do that tomorrow. Excellent. Well, that is wonderful insight and a very thought-provoking final answer. Shifra Ansonoff, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the AI Sidekick. I hope you're now feeling more confident about implementing AI into your business. If you found today's conversation valuable, be sure to subscribe and share it with your colleagues. For more insights or to see how Robin AI can help you make contracts simple, check out robinai.com. See you next time.